Hello and welcome to the corner. I'm the Frosted Glass, and I'm joined by my fellow Alabaster Savages. I like boobs.
Oregon Trail.
Moonshock.
So Jack, about the kung fu grip on the, you know how the arms always swiveled in
We're
and
not
out?
talking about He-Man action figures anymore.
No, we're talking about G.I. Joe now.
I'm thinking of the episode of Frasier where they have the murder mystery discussion and Gil is trying to spit his speech
Yeah,
about
the
his boyhood.
ham radio. Rump and the fins and spinnies.
So about that Benson episode where they had the multitude of knives on that one clock looking thing.
Hello, I'm the ice cream man.
I maintain Benson was better than Soap.
Agreed. Soap was funny, but I still like Benson.
Benson was way better.
Terry Diamantis.
2 hours later.
So going back to those Masters of the Universe figures,
And this week's special guest and first choice for special guest, Jack Cochran.
Totally not filling in. Oklahoma's the place for me. I am not Hate Camel.
Oregon Trail.
shut your fucking mouth.
It's pronounced oregano trail.
Thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
so spicy. It's a spicy meatball.
All right. Well, I don't want to alarm you guys, but you know, America
Too
is America is accelerating towards fascism.
That's an understatement.
After all the news that came out today, yeah, I would agree with that actually.
Oh God, what happened today?
You didn't see they appointed a special counsel for the Hunter Biden case?
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Who
the
did they
special
appoint?
counsel that he appointed was that attorney Weiss, the one that offered the special deal to give Hunter immunity. That's now the special counsel for all of the Hunter Biden cases.
Jesus Christ.
Nothing to see here. Totally not corrupt, you
Nope.
guys.
Nope, not at all. Mm-mm. There'll be
Demagogues-
zero movement made, zero actions taken.
Demagogues don't want to be above the law. They want to be the law.
And don't forget that another 10% off the top for the old man just went to Ukraine.
Yeah,
Again.
well, he gets 10% of that too, I think.
By now, you've seen the tweet above. Can we still call them tweets? That's Donald Trump saying that he'll be coming for anyone who goes after him. In response, Jack, the special counsel prosecuting him,
Whoa. What did you do, Jack?
Wait. I forgot to look up the author of this article. Who is this dipshit?
Umair Hacky.
I gotta see
You
this
can't
name.
just make sounds and say that's an author.
Am I the only one who's kind of dulled to this sort of news about Donald Trump's prosecution and the Hunter Biden stuff? Because the fact is that if any of this would have any bearing
God.
whatsoever on where I stood on any of these issues, then I might care. But the fact is that no matter what happens, no matter how corrupt they get, I'm still going to be voting for Donald Trump, one way or another.
Oh my God, you fascist!
Mhm.
So honestly, I can't even be bothered to care. Okay, yeah, you're corrupt. You're going after Donald Trump. You're going to give Hunter Biden immunity on stuff that he clearly shouldn't be given immunity on. It's a day ending in why. How can I care?
People are starting to say hi to Son.
Hi, son.
Hi, son.
My son.
In response, Jack, the special counsel prosecuting him, took out... took out a protective order. And of course the internet lit up in outrage. Many said that this was a clear violation of Trump's terms of release, which include not trying to intimidate witnesses and prosecutors.
Or talking or looking at other people, making eye contact.
Mhm.
What's all this about? Some have said it's about Trump not being above the law. And this kind of thing, a not-so-veiled threat, is a way that such figures like try to put themselves above the law. In fact, as an observer, a witness, and a scholar of social collapse, something much worse is afoot here.
Oh my god. All right, hold on. I'm getting you guys a picture of this dipshit.
You're a scholar of social collapse. Is that why you're trying to engineer one?
What
Yeah.
the hell is a scholar of social collapse? Like, you just sit around and study things burn into the ground? That seems very unhelpful.
He took a class specifically centered around Jenga.
That would actually, sadly, probably be a real thing these days.
He's that big red monster from
Jenga's-
the. He's the big red monster from the old Looney Tunes cartoons.
Advanced Jenga studies, surprisingly anti-Semitic.
Okay.
It's not just about demagogues being above the law. It's about demagogues becoming the law.
Dun, dun, dun.
Ooh.
Let me explain. These are different things, different degrees of authoritarian collapse, and the latter is much more severe than the former. Above the law means, of course, laws don't apply to you, but becoming the law means you make them. You set the rules by which the rest of society then has to abide. It's almost like you're the government.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anyone should be able to control how other people live so thoroughly. So let's start there. Bed.
See the difference and how much worse the latter is than the former? Let me illustrate with an example. What happens when Trump-like figures aren't just above the law, but become the law? We don't
He
have to
hasn't been president for 3 years. For 3 fucking years. Why are you still talking about this?
Oh, excuse me, but Orange Man is bad. Let's continue.
Yeah, I'm with Jack. I'm not going to tell you which one though.
Yeah.
If you had any reason to think that he was actually guilty of literally anything at all other than your complete denial of reality, then yeah, sure, maybe you could demand justice or some bullshit. But you've had no evidence, and every single thing you've taken a swipe at so far has totally fallen flat up until and including January 6th. Because guess what? No one's buying that. No one's buying it anymore.
These people
When it
want
first came out, people, you got the neocons like Ben Shapiro going like, "Oh, the January 6th, it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen, guys. It shouldn't happen." And then people forgot because we always knew it was a nothing burger. So what do you have left? What are you complaining about?
What kind of toppings would be on a nothing burger anyway?
No, but James
Ghost pepper.
Colley in chat says since Jack isn't voting for Trump, he ain't black. I just want to point out that Frosted gave us an alarm and we all ignored it, so we're all black.
Oh.
Yeah, we're all late for work, and
Now, who would get the reference if I said, "Hey, it's Enrico Palazzo"?
Yeah.
probably all of us, actually.
yeah.
I didn't hear what he said, so he said it so excitedly I didn't catch the actual words.
Hey, it's Enrico
worry about it.
Palazzo.
Oh, okay. I have no
I
idea what
did-
he's talking about.
I'm not familiar with that reference.
Naked Gun.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I haven't seen that movie in ages.
Yeah. It's been like 20 years.
See, we don't have to think very hard. Look at Florida. Ron DeSantis's Florida. The strange,
Thanks for clarifying.
not the other Florida, this Florida. The strange, beleaguered, bewildering place it's become. Florida's been mismanaged to bits. Leprosy of all things is on the rise. It has the highest insurance rates. Its living standards are plummeting, and so forth. That's because
Can I ask a question?
No.
Can I ask a question? I just want to know, why is it that this keeps fooling people? The whole, every time a Republican frontrunner comes out, they just start throwing, random lies and insults and just making shit up and saying he's the worst person in the world, and everybody on the left just totally buys it 100%. It
Because it
happens
reinforces what they want to
every-
believe.
every single time. There is no critical thinking whatsoever.
Look,
These people are stupid.
No, it's because they're followers, and most people,
Yeah.
let's sadly admit, most people are sheep. They will just listen to something and be like, "All right, that sounds authoritative. Must be true because this person's smarter than me, or more educated in this field, or I'm just too lazy." And
95% of people do not want to think about anything. If
Yeah.
the news tells them something, they go, "Well, it must be true because the news said so."
yeah, and
You know,
there's a high.
Maybe we deserve this bullshit.
No,
You know what I mean?
There's a hive mind mentality, especially with the leftists, because a lot of communists are collectivists, and they have a hive mind mentality of they're doing it, so it must be right. Because if the majority thinks it's good, that must be the social mores. If the people around me are doing this, I must conform, and they're just conformists. Also, I think the writer of this article was mistaking Florida for California because what he described is more California.
But the funny thing is, by what Jack Cochran just said, they'd all be pro-slavery if they lived, a few hundred years ago.
Oh, absolutely.
They absolutely would
Absolutely.
be. Because they
Well,
have no...
that's the thing. It's funny that that's true.
Yeah, and most people of the time during slavery were pro-slavery because they understood that was just the way it is. And they bought into all the propaganda. It was actually rare for somebody to be an abolitionist.
No, I just mean for how the way they talk, it's funny to think that if they'd existed in a different time, they'd just be completely on board with stuff like slavery.
Yeah, and they're too historically illiterate to understand that that's how it would be because that was the era they were raised in. They're like, no, I'd fight against it. No, you won't, you fucking idiot. You're a gullible sap. You'd be right there in line right behind Jefferson Davis going, you tell him, Jeffy.
Isn't it convenient that what these people perceive to be as the morally correct stance on every single issue is also the easiest one, that they never actually receive any real pushback against it?
Yeah,
isn't that convenient?
But I can be honest. If I lived 400 years ago in America, I would probably be pro-slavery because I would have no frame of reference otherwise.
Yeah, unless you went to a abolitionist church and that told you that was against it. Your community standard is what sets most people's thought.
Because slavery had been the norm in every culture for the past 2,000 years.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, slavery was invented by the white man in the United States.
In what, 1619? Is that the year?
Yes. The very first year that it happened was the same day that we actually bought from those African people.
Yeah, never mind. America didn't exist in 1619.
Every white person owned slaves, and every black person was a slave.
Yes.
And what's more, you were a slave in America. So if you're in South Africa, it doesn't matter if you were in South Africa at the time. You were a slave to a white person.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I have a slave right now that's turning the ceiling fan above me. And then typing my message.
You've got turning the ceiling fan? That is unbelievable.
She's not my slave, you asshole.
That's because DeSantis wasn't just above the law. He became the law. And instead of managing his state for any degree of modern sanity, progress, prosperity, he focused on a bizarre series of culture wars. Every group in society is fair game for hectoring, abuse, and harassment, right down to a mega corporation like Disney. Teachers, professors... Huh?
I said, good, fuck Disney.
Right?
Wow, even the little guys like Disney are vulnerable.
Hey, you start picking on that poor mouse. He didn't do nothing. Just because they keep busting pedos there, just because they keep churning out garbage that just is thinly veiled propaganda. We love the Disney. Look, we already lost J.K. Rowling to the wrong, the turf kind. It's important we fight for maintaining the pedo mouse.
Teachers,
and let's not forget that Snow White is definitely Latina or Latinx.
Yeah, and the magical beings that hang out with her, Come on,
Yes.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Trump
Yes.
is so racist.
Burrito Brown and the Seven Gringos.
Oh,
Because
I was gonna say
Yes.
Snow Tinks and the Magical Forest people, but that works.
you know that Gal Gadot is so jealous of Snow White, and there's going to be no prince this time. She's
Yeah.
fighting
That was-
patriarchy or what's
Yeah,
That was
Gal-
the most insulting part of all. Gal Gadot looks up to Mrs. Mid as the most beautiful in the land.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like,
I-
yeah, sure.
I mean, she may be a shitty actress, but she is hot. So
Yeah, look, just because she was in the Israeli Defense Force doesn't mean I wouldn't let her take away some stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to inspect my pants. All right,
Mhm.
lady.
Well, you would like to make a donation to her? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying she should shave. So,
I
she's
I
ready
would
for my
I would
love fest.
I would let her croft my maga if you follow me.
Yeah, like I'd let her like lean into my Western Wall, if you know what I'm saying.
You can Yom Your Kippur.
Is that a little too edgy for here? Because I mean, usually
Kalel,
push
no.
boundaries.
Would you like her to bluff your Blarney Stone?
Yeah, I'm willing to let her violate
D-
some inner
does-
sanctums. And
Moon, do you not know the difference between Jews and the Irishmen?
there's a difference.
There's a difference. I mean, but Irish people they're considered nothing. So
Well, let's face it, the Irish are a bunch of drunks, so Jews aren't really known for that.
Well, that's because they're not willing to spend the money on the alcohol.
I don't know. We should ask Dewey the dwarf.
The best.
Oh, that's a deep cut.
What is his most endearing trait, Dewey the Dwarf?
I think it's funny that Dewey the Dwarf is like one of the best things that came from one of the worst Jackbox games.
Why? Which game was it?
Racketeering.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because it was name the eighth dwarf, and Dewey was the one that won. But it's like that's a shit game. But Dewey the Dwarf was a great meme that came from it.
I thought that came about because there was like a room code that was like Jew K, and I thought I read it as Jewy.
No.
Nah.
Dewey was from Racketeering.
Let's see.
Jew K
Teacher-
was a room code that did happen, but Dewey the Dwarf came from Racketeering.
Jew K was the second best room code we had.
That is true.
Yeah.
Teachers, professors, doctors, families, they've all been criminalized. Special police forces are being constructed. Certain ethnicities can't buy property anymore. Think about that for a second.
Wow.
Yeah, by the way, I looked at it, and it turns out it's just if you're not a citizen from a certain country,
Yeah.
then you can't buy property.
Yeah, it's not like it's
Yeah.
one ethnicity; it's people that aren't citizens. It was
Yeah.
targeted
And-
at the Chinese, but
It includes
Again,
Asian countries, like Middle Eastern countries.
yeah,
Can they literally not distinguish between legal and illegal?
No, they can't.
what? Those are just the magical divinity people streaming over our borders. They are. How dare you? All people are legal.
Mhm.
Jeez, you monster!
I still think it was a mistake to switch the language to illegal immigrants from illegal alien.
Well, look, the Space Brothers are our friends. We didn't want to
Because-
discriminate against them.
Because illegal immigrant just gave them a foot in the door to call them immigrants.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now
you're
they're
not wrong.
undocumented.
Ugh.
It's like
Never-
undocumented
never
means to
give-
me like they're already considered to be in this country. They just don't have
Just,
their papers.
just call them invaders. That's just
Yeah,
leave it at
That's
that.
more accurate, but
Illegal invaders. Yeah, there you go.
You don't even
They're,
need
they're
illegal,
taking
just
all
they're
our
invaders.
space. They're space invaders.
There you go.
that's true.
First, books were banned. Now high school classes in psychology are. Don't say
Oh.
gay became the law. And it wasn't an ending. It was just a beginning.
Is anything you actually said factually accurate at all?
No,
From a
this
certain
is
point of view.
medium. We don't do that here.
Does make you wonder if this guy sees the goy as nothing but a bunch of fucking weirded, wasted people.
You'd be amazed how many people see how many people on the left don't like Jewish people.
Oh yeah,
It's
that's
very
the one thing
surprising.
that the far left and the far right can agree on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that
Like
was
the
the,
cl-
the whole premise of your game, the progressive or Stormfront thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the Klan and the communists can both be like, you hate Jews too.
And they both hate Catholics. So
Yeah.
there's
So-
that.
So technically, you could say that's inclusive, right?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Well,
like
hold on.
she's our
The Klan and the communists were on the same side, Frosted.
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
Meh.
But I don't know. I honestly I don't know why everyone hates the Jews so much. They just seem like any other religion, as far as I can tell.
No,
Yeah.
it's a convenient scapegoat because when times are tough, you need someone to blame. And if you have
Yeah,
nothing
women.
going on in your life, you're definitely not going to blame yourself.
Did you just say women?
Judaism in general values a very strong work ethic, and because of that, there was a disproportionate amount of wealth that went to the Jewish population, and then people saw that and they said they have money, let's get them.
And
Okay,
it's
that
also
makes sense.
why
That makes
people
sense.
hate the Asians because they're like, oh
Smart?
my God, they're white adjacent because they're trying.
Yeah, stop
Yeah,
being so
they're-
smart, Asian people.
They're white when the left suddenly remembers that it destroys their narrative if Asians make more money than white people.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're white adjacent. So that Sikh dude down the street running the convenience store that's trying to work and busted his ass, some barista who sits on the floor crying about having to work an 8-hour shift is like, you're just a white supremacist because you make money by effort and trying. Ew.
I like
We
a
really derailed this.
I like clip I saw on YouTube of a guy getting his ethnicity study back or whatever. It's like, all right, you're 48% this, 48% that, and 5% Asian. And he goes, oh, okay, wait, that doesn't add up to 100. And then the guy goes, 6% Asian.
Well, according to Jack, they have to be 100% Asian for him to even have an interest.
No, I'll occasionally take the half breed, but they're just not as hot. They tend to get fat.
I
Well-
tend to find that the half breeds tend to be the most attractive. Like you want white features, but with just a little bit of exoticism. So like half black, half white, half
Yeah,
Asian, half white. That'll work.
You need to breed the perfect women like you do with dogs. Yeah.
There you
Well,
go.
I'm not
Fucking
opposed to
get
that.
Yeah.
As long as they have the tight vaginas like Asians have, then that's the important bit, really.
Now, if you
So
say that
they-
about dogs, then
So it doesn't matter what the tops or below the waist is, as long as that part right there,
Well, I'd
But-
prefer a thigh gap like a good Asian, but
So what you're saying is loosen the flaps, tighten the turbine?
I'd say just as long as my penis is happy,
Mhm.
because they do tend to be a little naggy at times. But
as long as things are good in Cincinnati.
Yeah, yeah.
Check the oil with his dipstick, right?
yeah, you gotta test them out and be like, if they're like, "Oh, Mr. Jack, you're so big," then you know you found
Oh my
the right
God.
one.
All right.
Tier says that historically Jewish people were kind of insular and infamous for fucking up economies. Then started shit until they get locked out of kingdoms or empires. Historically, Jews were fucking assholes. I don't know about fucking up economies, but I do know that Jewish people are very insular.
Well,
I mean,
for example, it's common practice. Sorry.
I mean, the version I heard is that, like, centuries ago, like, Christians, like, weren't supposed to, like, loan
Lend
money and stuff like that,
Mm.
but, Jews were. So
Yeah.
when people, like, took loans or whatever, they take it from Jews, and basically people started to resent the people they owed money to.
Yeah,
That
well,
makes
if
sense.
you had to pay it back and they wanted their money back, then well, time to blame them for something. And whenever economies,
I'm sorry. I do know that the Jews are insular in that if you request to be a Jew, they have to deny you multiple times. So if you go to a rabbi and say, I want to be a Jew, they will say no to you. multiple times. You have to keep going back. And I always thought that
that's
sounded.
sexual harassment. Hashtag no means no.
I always thought that was kind of ridiculous because if you want someone to resent you for your religion, that's the best way to do it.
No, it's usually when the economy's like kings would misspend their money and stuff like that, misappropriate by building extra castles and stuff. They would start blaming marginalized groups within their own kingdoms, usually gypsies and Jews. Something went wrong, you blame another little group that's an outsider group, and yeah, that's what they would do. So the propaganda always was that they're causing these problems. We got to run them out of town. It's their fault. Hitler worked it to a T. It was a masterful propaganda campaign that he waged.
The only problem with that is, okay, you drive all the Jews / gypsies out, then there's still more problems. Then it's like, okay, what now?
Well, you seize all their property and wealth on while you're kicking them out, and then it helps cushion the blow. And then you just find some other group, like the Irish did it. You know, obviously they're in league with them.
Jack,
Step
this is
one.
Jack Cochran.
Hmm?
I found an Asian picture, Asian girl picture just for you. It's in chat.
Oh dear.
Is this a fat one? Yeah, that's some of my new cow. See that. You got to find one from the old country that doesn't eat processed foods and doesn't even know what a burger is.
Is that trans
She's been
Buddha?
Americanized.
All right. That's what happens when demagogues become the law. And that is what is really happening here. The problem Trump presents America with isn't just that of a demagogue being above the law, but one becoming the law. Yes, you've told us that. Let's make that more concrete. Trump, according to the January 6th committee, led a sophisticated coup along with a multi-part plan to ... overthrow American democracy. Trying him for that isn't just about him not being above the law. The rule of law applying to him, too. It's also about him not becoming the law.
I think her needle's stuck. She seems to be saying the same thing repeatedly.
Well, it's a guy.
No,
This just did. People who don't like Trump don't like what Trump did.
Also, I like how
that's what I got.
The sophisticated coup involved people milling about in the Capitol and a couple people shitting on a desk or something.
Yeah, not one person trying to burn a building down or anything like that. That's the most disorganized insurrection in the history of insurrections.
But I like the violent insurrectionists that stayed within the velvet ropes.
Yeah, taking pictures and smiling.
It was a moderate riot at best.
Yeah, even that was half-assed and weak sauce. And I guarantee half the violent people were Fed allies.
That was ridiculously
it was sad. If that's the best the right wing can do, you're pathetic.
Yeah.
Nobody even had a gun. What kind of right wingers are you? You suck.
I'm not even going to pretend that I care even remotely about the January 6th riot because I couldn't be bothered to care that much about all the other riots that came from the left that year. And those were comparatively much, much worse.
Yeah. Well, that's because all the rioters were like the idiots on the right.
Yeah, it was like all the dum-dums that would just go along to get along. We're doing this now.
If the right wanted an insurrection, you wouldn't know until it was over about 10 seconds later.
Yeah, because there'd be a lot of gunfire, and no, this is all fucking.
There would be gunfire for about 10 seconds, and then it would be done.
This is what insular gun control nuts think an insurrection would look like. They'd be like, "Oh my god, they walked into a place they're not supposed to be and milled around." Well, I mean, what? Are they emus in disguise?
Republicans, emus in disguise. What happens if there's another Trump term? Something a lot like Ron DeSantis' Florida or Greg Abbott's Texas does. Does what?
Just say Republicans. Just be honest and say you think all Republicans are the most evil people in the world, and if you vote for a Republican, it's obvious that you're worse than Hitler, literally.
That's a given, isn't it?
Trump's already...
Just say that, because that's what you're thinking.
Trump's already threatened to purge the civil service, and the GOP has a plan to basically politicize every government agency. Yeah, I'll just let that sink in for a sec. God forbid government agencies become politicized.
Yeah,
Alright.
can't have that.
Already in the indictment, there were plans to send in the military to quell unrest over an overthrown democracy, martial law. It hardly takes a genius to see the danger of Trump becoming the law. Even if he doesn't go to the full Ron DeSantis, that's not saying much. The GOP's
Nothing.
the GOP's champing at the bit to turn culture wars, scapegoating innocents from women to kids to LGBTQ to minorities, into America's only not just issue, but actual governing policy.
But straight white men are actually a minority. Like there's fewer of them than people that don't fit that category. So apparently we're being picked on by Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
I wonder if these people just don't know the other side of the argument at all, and that's why they
Well, it's illegal
give
to listen
such
to the other side,
ridiculous.
sir.
Yeah.
They don't care.
So you
No,
would
no,
listen
it's
to a
not that-
fascist?
It's not that they don't care. It is actively evil to listen to the other side. That's why they
Exactly.
go after people like Shu, who are like willing to talk to the other. Like they crucified Lacey Green not for changing her mind on anything, but just for having a conversation with someone like Chris Reagan. It's like that's the extent of their mindset. It's like,
And the Young Turks are
that-
far right now.
yeah.
But I've noticed that the less politically engaged who are on the left, when they hear the opposition, they're confused by it. Like they don't
Well-
understand that there's an opinion outside of their own.
Because when you're in a cult, anything outside of cult doctrine is verboten. So when you hear it, you expect a certain thing. You expect Satan to say certain things. So when they say something different, you're a little thrown and don't know exactly how to respond. So they have this purity mentality of they are the purest of the pure. This is actually a very common thing with the Quakers in the 1700s. Anything outside of the bounds they've set is weird and dangerous and should be destroyed immediately. And they have that same mentality. I guarantee you, this author probably can't even pull Mussolini's picture out of a lineup because they don't know anything about what they're talking about. They just believe what they're told, regurgitate it, and move on like a good drone. Looking into anything is dangerous and scary and must be avoided at all costs.
But of course America has real problems, from healthcare to retirement to downward mobility. The GOP has no agenda, none for any of those. Not a single one.
The goal.
Yeah, sure. Go on.
The GOP's already becoming the law. It's done a fantastic job of mounting a blitzkrieg against American democracy.
What's Craig?
What happened after Trump lost the election? Well, during his time in office, of course, he stacked the Supreme Court, which took away women's basic freedoms. Now women in America don't really have full freedoms of privacy, expression, association, speech, movement, at least in certain states. Or maybe...
Baby murder.
Hey, you know who else agreed that Roe versus Wade was a bad decision?
Democrats.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
So, ignorant foreigner here. I thought stacking the Supreme Court meant adding new ones, not just replacing ones that retired.
It is. This guy's an idiot.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, but the definitions mean what we would need them to mean at the moment.
Yeah,
So if we get something wrong, then obviously you're dumb because you don't know the definition I'm using. It identifies as this.
Appointing a Supreme Court justice when there's a vacancy for a Supreme Court justice is called the president's job.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Not when it's Trump.
Sounded like a hate fact to me.
Meanwhile, the GOP's mounted an aggressive campaign, following DeSantis' lead, to begin making culture wars actual policy. What do we call this? What is it when this sort of thing becomes the law because it's a party's only agenda? scapegoating, the erasure of rights, the removal of basic freedoms. Let's go back to the example of Chinese people not being able to buy property in Florida. Sounds a little fascist, no?
No.
We're gonna have real issue with Xi Jinping when they find out that if your social credit score is bad, a Chinese person can't own land in China.
Yeah.
Oh no, China. There's no problem with China. China's
Nope.
good.
You don't
Stop
you
talking
don't,
about China. Shut up. Shut up.
you don't have to think very hard to see parallels to fascism, saying to certain kinds of hatred, certain kinds of hated people, you can't live here. You might think a single policy like that might have some kind of reasonable explanation, even, if you want to be generous, and give the benefit of the doubt. But when seen in combination with books bans and banning high school classes and justifying slavery, it's exactly what it looks like. This kind of agenda is fascism. Authoritarian fascism, to be precise. That as opposed to libertarian fascism. Not some kind of loose, disorganized, chaotic fascism from the bottom up, but the top-down kind, which is what makes it authoritarian. So demagogues becoming the law is authoritarian fascism, especially when they have hyper-nationalist agendas of purification and cleansing like the GOP does. That is why the fight against all of this. And that's
The fact that
spearheaded...
mentioning China reminded me of The Simpsons, where there's the plaque that says, on this day in whatever year, nothing at all happened. And then there's like Tiananmen Square.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That is why the fight against all this, and that's spearheaded by Jack Smith's prosecution of Trump, matters so much. It's not just about Trump not being above the law. It's about demagogues not becoming the law. For that to happen, democracy's justice system must prevail and hold them to account. Trump being indicted is a sign that, no, he isn't above the law. But finding him guilty would be a demonstration that he shouldn't become the law. Yes, here America runs into a unique problem. It's one of a few countries where, apparently, you can be president, even from jail.
That would be so awesome if Trump is president from jail.
Yeah. That would be my dream scenario, is he actually gets convicted and put in prison but wins the election.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Pardon myself.
The founding fathers probably never envisioned any of this, the extremity of this scenario. Many other countries have explicit provisions that if you break the law and you're found guilty of a serious crime, you can't hold public office again. Most advanced democracies do. America, doesn't. And so
Yeah, because it recognized that the system that puts you in jail might be corrupt, and that might be why you were elected. Huh? Makes you think.
And so this contest really is a fight for the life of American democracy. In this case, the necessary has happened. A special prosecution for a special crime, in echoes of what happened at Nuremberg.
Oh God.
Nuremberg? What the fuck is wrong with you?
You don't remember Trump genociding 6 million people?
Yeah, you don't remember the gay gas chambers?
Yes.
These people, I don't understand how a person can be so utterly at odds with basic reality.
Well, you don't have a traumatic brain injury, so...
Yes, we must wait to see if it will have teeth, force, power. But for now, we should all understand what's at stake here, and understand it well.
I could go for a steak.
We had
I'm
one of those
confused.
tonight.
I'm confused. Should Trump become the law? This article didn't really specify.
I don't know. It's not about becoming the law and being above it.
I really think Trump would look good in a Judge Dredd uniform, so I'm kind of on board with this.
I am the law.
You're fired.
Tearing chat says queeracost. Clearly, the correct answer is homocaust.
Yeah.
All right. So with the end of the first article comes the first game,
Ooh.
and that is
second best.
Sad Libs Double Prompt Edition,
DP.
where I take
Want to be
4.
DP? Good God, you are gay.
Am not.
Yeah, who
What
are you
is
kidding?
happening over there?
My wife basically just called me gay.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought I heard her say DPing.
I said DP and TB, and she goes, "Oh my God, you really are gay."
You know, your audio sounds pretty good considering you're streaming from inside the closet. But
Oh,
anyway,
Yeah.
I'm streaming from inside the closet, apparently.
let's-
Don't just stand there and be silent. Say something, damn you. She has nothing to say whatsoever. And she just patted me on my bald ass head. Not that one, the other one.
Whoa.
No, not that one.
so this is
Now,
the one
come
where I
here
take
and I'll, do this.
4 headlines from Medium, take out 2 words, and you guys fill in those words Mad Lib style, and then the chat votes on which one is best. So
What?
Jack Gunsky, I need a plural now.
How about guns? Because I could really use one right now.
All right. Let's see. Moon, I need an adjective.
How about gay? Since apparently I am.
Makes sense.
Hey, you're not supposed to agree.
Too late.
All right.
You said it, not me. I'm just.
Yeah, are we supposed to deny your sexuality? We're not bigots. All right.
Yes,
Terry,
right, you want to be inclusive, don't you?
Terry, we need an adjective.
Fascist.
All right. And Jack Cochran, I need an adjective.
Bewildered.
Hmm. It's a good one.
Yeah. And let's see. Moon, give me an adjective.
Black
D-
with a capital B. Oh wow, you actually did put a capital.
All right. Let's see. Terry, give me Terry, give me a topic.
Well, going with what Moon just said, I'll go Ebonics.
Oh my God.
All right. Let's see. Jack Cochran, give me a verb.
A verb? Oh, shit. Give me a second. Let me think. I want to get a good one here.
Penetrate.
No, not using that one.
I'm hearing the voices again.
Yeah. I just hear whispering. I can't actually make out what you said. I'm old.
Hey, I'm older than you are.
What about accessing?
I guess
just-
that would work.
Just
yeah.
access.
Or penetrate? Somebody
Mhm.
said that. I heard a voice tell me
I
that.
didn't say it. Yeah,
Uh,
Jack.
Which one are you going with?
I don't know. There's so many.
You can't put me on the spot like that.
You ask me all these
Chunky.
tough questions. I don't come here for questions.
Chunky's not a verb.
What about felching?
There you go.
Felch. It would have to be Felch.
The fascist felch. I like it.
The fascist Felch.
Anyone who doesn't know what felch is, turn your safe
it up.
search off.
Oh.
All right. Let's see. And
Chunky.
no chunky.
No, Chunky.
Well, I can't think of another one, and Chunky is the best option, so write it!
Do you know how many fucking adjectives there are in this language?
Yes,
Hey,
but Chunky is the funniest.
I would laugh if you said, you can't use chunky. He goes, chunk-tastic.
Chunkorama.
But like, do you just burst out into
Chunkerific. Write
You
it.
do you just burst out into laughter every time you go down the peanut butter aisle at the supermarket?
Look at that
The
Jif. and how
funniest
chunky
peanut
it
butter
is.
there is.
It's Chunky Jif.
Chunkerific.
So
Chunktastic.
Jack Gunsky's is
Oh, dear God.
guns don't hurt kids. Black with a capital B adults do.
Wow.
That's a bit too correct.
Oh.
Well, see, that just reminds me of a YouTube video where this guy's like, guns don't kill people. Black motherfuckers with guns kill people.
All right, let's see. Moons. How gay men want to make you believe women aren't interested in ebonics.
Sorry, not as good as Jack's. I'm not going to win this week.
All right, Terry's. Seeing fascist women felch on the gram makes my skin crawl.
Oh.
I'm not surprised.
And Jack Cochran's. I am bewildered and likable thanks to my chunky son.
That's true.
Wow. I gotta go with Jack Gunsky's though. That one's good.
Yeah.
But
I
see, the
think
thing is,
that-
it was my black with a capital B that did it.
I think Gunsky's is too accurate.
Yeah, it's too on the nose.
Well, 53%. I mean,
I think Jack's is probably my personal favorite.
I didn't get the thingamabobber. Oh, there it is.
And I'm putting up a poll so the chat can vote on which is best. And
Oh, man.
also, we only have about half as many likes as we do viewers, so.
Oh, people, come
Monsters.
on.
I think Gunsky's going to win this one. By the way.
Yeah, I think he's got this one in the bag.
And
Rigged.
also Jack Cochran's Streamlabs is pinned in the chat.
Yeah, give him
Yay.
money.
give me money. I'm poor. I was eating a cup of noodles a minute ago. 'cause
Was it
that's all I
shrimp at
had.
least? Was it shrimp?
No, I can't eat shrimp.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, I don't like seafood to begin with, but
Oh,
I can't eat it for medical reasons.
You and I can't be friends anymore. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
My doctor's like, you can't eat that, you'll die.
I don't
Oh,
really
Well,
like.
which is more important, your friendship with Moonshock or your life?
I'm thinking.
This just in: Jack is a wimpy faggot.
Well, yeah. So
Also, Jack Gunsky talks about himself in the third person.
Yes, he does.
Oh.
Andrew Tate's the coolest. Yeah.
Oh,
So like a genuine food allergy. That sucks, dude. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, you know, is what it is.
Well, okay, fine. How about beef? Beef good?
I do love beef, but as I get older, I'm not supposed to eat that either. But that has not stopped me thus far.
Hey, you're not supposed to say that, baby.
so what?
Stop calling
What's your
Jeff baby.
favorite? What's your favorite, Jack? What's your favorite type of instant ramen?
I like the chicken actually because
I like the chicken too.
it has less salt,
No.
and I don't. If I get the cup of noodles, I already mixed it together, which I hate. But if I get the ramen, I don't have to use the packs at all, and then I can just turn it into sad spaghetti.
I like salt. I mean, I eat Vegemite, so clearly I am not
Whoa.
averse to salty food.
Yeah,
I
as
I
you get
wish that
close-
they.
Good.
I wish they just sold the packets on their own without the ramen attached to it, and then I would just make soup.
Well,
I'm
that's where,
actually
all the,
surprised I don't.
that's where all the calories comes from. I mean, you look at the calorie content for just the ramen itself, nothing. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, there's
ramen
some,
is
but-
just empty carbs.
yeah.
I like the meme online of how to eat ramen, and it's like eat the uncooked noodles, snort the powder, drink the boiling water, fuck bitches.
Accurate.
God.
All right,
Uh,
I think I'll end the poll there. So it looks like Jack Gunsky wins with 52%.
How many accounts do you have, Gunsky?
I mean,
Who,
you're
me?
one to ask, Jack.
Mhm.
Well, I've admitted I have 8. So
What? How many? What YouTube accounts?
Yeah.
Because I just have the one.
Oh, you're doing this wrong. You need backups, and upon backups, in case they kick you off.
No, my backup is Rumble. I'm not putting up with YouTube's bullshit if they kick me
Well,
off.
we didn't always have Rumble, so
Yeah, that's true.
Jack is a
Options
YouTube
were
prepper.
yeah. I've been on YouTube since 2010, so
He's a sovereign citizen. He's a
yeah.
I think I have too. I think it's been a while.
The admiralty
Yeah.
of YouTube has not caught me yet.
I think I've been on YouTube since 2008. I want to say.
Yeah, I was late to the game.
I mean,
Yeah,
it
I
depends
posted
what you
the
mean
first video
by
on YouTube.
2006. I win.
But like, it depends what you mean. Like, I've been watching YouTube for ages. If you mean in terms of actually like streaming, then like 2016, 2017.
Well, Terry, let's cut to the chase. When was your first video made?
Oh, my first video was made in Zero. It doesn't exist. I have still maintained my perfect infinite ratio between subscribers and content.
The spiffing Brit would be proud.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, we're only about 25 away from having 400 subscribers.
Nice.
So,
Like,
if
share,
you
and
aren't-
subscribe, you guys.
I
if
have
you aren't-
37 subscribers. Woo! Go me.
So if you aren't subbed now,
Right.
then do it.
I think I've got like 20, which is like crazy since there's like literally zero content on my channel.
I have exactly 6 videos, and they're all year old.
All right, so on to our second article. Communism's greatest achievements.
Oh dear God.
Oh God, no!
This
I
one
mean-
I found last week, but I saved for you, Jack.
What is this?
Yeah.
Fuck
Alien
you.
Savage. Hold on a second. And Savage.
They might consider mass starvation to be an accomplishment or an achievement.
It depends on your agenda, really.
Oh my
fail-
God, this guy's a fucking soy boy if I ever saw
Yeah.
him.
Its failures are infamous, but it got a lot right too.
Yeah, it killed. No, that's true. It killed a hell of a lot of communists.
Yeah.
Look
You
at
know,
this guy.
Hitler
baby.
was pro women's rights. I don't exactly see people
Yeah,
going
is that-
on about that.
Is that not the face of somebody who died inside a long time ago?
this was originally going to be the titular article, but I found one stupider.
Link is in chat.
Wow.
If anybody
That's
wants to see
impressive.
this person,
Oh,
Alien Savage.
And he's not bad. You won't, like, throw up.
Wow. I was wrong. I have 28 subscribers. I have almost 30 subscribers. That's crazy.
Irma Gerd.
I mean, he's a pretty average-looking twink.
Yeah, I mean, like, you give that guy a shell necklace and a guitar, he looks like every douchebag that's trying to get laid at a college party.
That's the person. Oh, that's the face of someone born
Yeah.
without a soul.
Let's see. Much of the 20th century
He
was
he looks like he enjoyed his avocado toast this morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Much of the 20th century was defined by the ideological conflict between capitalism and communism. It was a war that capitalism won pretty convincingly. Since the collapse of the Berlin Wall and the disintegration of the Soviet Union, communism hasn't been seen as a viable way of running a successful country. The few
Correct.
remaining communist states are either soul-crushing dystopias like North Korea, or countries that have succeeded by adopting the principles of capitalism, like China.
Hold on. Distinction to be made here. They were always that way. All communist countries were turned into nightmarish dictatorships where millions of people starve. It happens every single time. This is not a recent phenomena.
And
they
al-
murder their people, blah, blah, blah. Look at the positives, you whiner.
and also, China is still a soul-crushing dystopia.
Yes.
Look at all the happy people in their commercials.
It's the only place you can go where if you jaywalk, they'll display you, shame you.
But the complete defeat of communism in the popular imagination obscures some of the very real successes of communist states. These societies presided over billions of lives, well, fewer by the time they were done, and in
Yeah.
many cases improved them. We'd
Yeah,
be
think about
fools.
the advancements in gulag technology.
We'd be fools to ignore the things that communist states got right. So let's reflect on some of the things communist countries got right. Modernization and industrialization. One of the trickiest things about comparing a country like the Soviet Union with a country like the United States is that they have never been at equal levels of development. Sure, 1980s capitalist America was richer than 1980s communist Russia, but America has also been much richer than Russia long before the communists took over. The Russian Empire that preceded the USSR was a backwards, impoverished, borderline feudal state. Under Soviet rule, the feudal economy became a heavily industrial one, with life being measured in 5-year plans.
Uh,
You're only going to expect them to live 5 more years.
It would be fair to point out that Soviet factories...
how can you say 5-year plan without being like,
Well, it's just a plan, plans are good.
It's almost like someone saying, the final solution, I think, was a pretty good idea.
It had its merits, yeah.
It had solution right in the name. All right. It would be fair to point out that Soviet factories tended to focus on military equipment and prestige heavy industry projects like space rockets rather than everyday consumer goods like jeans and television sets. But all the same, the Soviets did have factories. Marx and Lenin were very keen on building the means of production that they wanted workers to control, like chemical plants and road networks. So they had factories. They didn't make anything that the people could use, but they had factories.
Yeah,
No, because the people were
effectively what you are describing here is an effective argument in favor of slave labor.
Yep.
That's literally what you're describing, is an argument for slave labor.
When the people are wards of the state, you can't have slave labor because that implies you have rights.
It's amazing what you can do if you have endless human suffering to throw at a problem.
Well, yeah. You get to hear all the wailing and moaning. It's like music to your ears, isn't it? What?
So sometimes it's just human suffering is fun, even if it's not towards some grand goal.
Yeah. For example, doing a stream where you get to hear people, yell and scream at your articles.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have a boner every time you do one of these shows for us to yes, misery, I have caused it.
He actually needs to see the doctor after the stream because it went for over 4 hours.
Yeah.
And also, I'm curious as to just how great Russia's financial boom was as a result of communism, considering, the large problems in productivity in almost every other industry at the time.
Well,
I'm wondering if that hasn't itself been vastly overblown by a whole bunch of dirty, rotten communists.
It of course is, because top-down control doesn't lead to success. It leads to stagnation. And that's why so many things that the Russians made were trash. They made industrial equipment pretty well because that's pretty easy to do. But if you look at their cars that they had, it was very, very expensive, and they were shit because they didn't have mass production lines. Because mass production lines were dedicated to industrial stuff for the government. So there were a lot of parts in there that had to be handmade and often didn't fit together properly. That people had to kind of make their own then to replace parts because there were shortages all the time. They couldn't produce food because they killed all the kulaks so that they could replace them with intellectuals. Same thing Mao did years later, except Mao did it worse. And you start saying, well, look, you can't do this because you are a threat to our power base because you control food. So we have to have our loyal servants. Well, your loyal servants don't know how to do it in practicality. They know it on paper. So knowing how to do something on paper versus practical application, vastly different things. And that was one of the problems the communists had, is this top-down control. And you can't be better than your boss either, because if you do that, the boss will see that as a threat to his position. So you have to be slightly worse, a little lazier, probably a little more corrupt to get things done. There's a whole litany of problems that come with that kind of control. And that's why this doesn't work. It also
But the-
doesn't factor in human greed.
But they had
actually said
factories.
that, they do. They actually said that anyone who's in favor of communism should be forced to live under it for 10 years.
Yeah.
And if they still like it, then power to them. But
People forget, because a lot of people that are talking this shit never grew up under the Cold War. We understood.
yeah, no, exactly.
We understood what the Russians were back then. Yeah, it was exaggerated in movies and shit like that, but yeah, blah blah blah. But we understood the type of authoritarianism that was going on over there. And you see that still in North Korea. But people say, no, that's because of the West. Otherwise, it'd be this grand utopia. No, that's what happens when you have top-down control and everybody micromanaging all the workers. You can't do that. There's no innovation.
Amazing how every communist failure is somehow America's fault.
Yeah, well,
it's almost as though if your country isn't totally adopted by, if your way of life isn't adopted by literally the rest of the world, then it's doomed to fail. Therefore, everybody must be communist in order for us to give it its fair shake.
it's just never been done right, because they, again, don't understand that it's an ideology that cannot succeed. It's a utopian notion. It will never succeed as long as there's a handful of people, just percentage wise, that don't go along with things. They start creating black markets. They start importing things from other places that you're not supposed to have, whether by design or just failings of the system. Like Levi's jeans were going.
He means markets of color. YouTube, don't cancel us.
Yeah, sorry. Levi's jeans would go for $500 in the Soviet Union because they were banned. Also, they couldn't make blue jeans very well. They were in very short supply. They had these shitty trousers. So you could go over there, sell your pants for hundreds of dollars, used or not. And there was an entire smuggling ring of that. Same with Western music. That's why it was such a big deal when bands like Bon Jovi and the Scorpions went over to Russia and performed in the late 80s, because it showed a weakening of their resolve. Otherwise, possession of that stuff could get you thrown in a gulag. You couldn't have Western media, but we don't talk about that. We don't talk about the failings of communism because it's been sanitized back to the utopian vision Marx had, where it's just not possible to do that. Leviathan, the book, taught us how utopias do not work. It cannot sustain itself. It cannot succeed because nobody is 100% on board. And the higher degree you're not on board, the more of a wrench you are in the system. Sorry, got on my soapbox.
Incidentally, if you ever want to piss off a commie on Twitter, the best way to do it is just to start posting pictures of dead people from various communist plagues.
Yeah, because they couldn't handle that. Look what happened at Chernobyl. When that place melted down, they denied it. They're like, no, that's not happening there. You're just lying to us.
Yeah, in the 20s or so, when they had one of their big famines and peasants were starving, America had to give them like food and relief, and they eventually like turned it away.
Yeah, and in North Korea, they take the aid bags that we give them of rice and stuff, and they repackage them and give them out. That's been done all over. They did that in Eritrea, Ethiopia, all over the world. Every time we give some warlord a bunch of food aid, they just repackage it, take it out of the stuff that says in America, and they say, oh, this is from your grand leader. A lot of these places would have collapsed without Western intervention years and years ago. So communism is an unsustainable thing. You could kill millions of people and keep it propped up for decades, but eventually it will fall apart just because it's an unsustainable ideology. It's just a matter of how much suffering and how many dead bodies you're willing to commit to. And the famine in Ukraine, by the way, caused by Stalin. He thought people were stealing food and keeping it for themselves and the greater good, which means him usually. No, that's unacceptable. So they just went in and started raiding people's homes and taking the food out.
Yeah, and had a death toll on par with the Holocaust.
Yeah, but we don't talk about that.
No, but what you're overlooking is if everyone was just perfect and had no self-interest whatsoever, communism might be able to work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Communism can work as long as people aren't involved.
exactly. As long as it's a commune of 2 people or less, somebody's got
Communism can work just so long as everybody involved doesn't have rationality or
Or
self-interest.
Yeah, self-interest. You fucking selfish bastard.
Let's see. The strength of the centrally planned state allowed implementation of major infrastructure projects like the electrification of Russia in the 1920s that would have been considered unthinkable in their pre-communist periods. That state capacity put the communist nations well ahead of many countries in Africa and Asia that are still less developed today than the average Warsaw Pact country in the 70s.
You know what they have in Africa? A lot of sand. What are you gonna do with that? You live in like destitute regions with barely any resources, and the resources that you do have get exploited by regional warlords. Half these places are in constant warfare or states of civil war, and they're constantly being invaded and conquered. Yeah, Africa's a fucking shithole continent. That's a ludicrous example.
Also, electricity is nice, but when the peasants are turning to cannibalism because they have no food, it's not much of a help.
Yeah, and they only did that to get to resource areas. There was a railroad they built in Siberia that went to a big supply of coal. That was the only thing it was for. And a town built up around it, because the laborers had to go there. Like, you guys live here, go build something. And they had to build it themselves. They were given almost no supplies and like, all right, build some huts and get digging. And obviously that was why they went there. They built the railroad there. They got electricity there for a resource. It wasn't just because they're like, let's make everybody's lives better. Most people didn't have electricity, and a lot of places in Russia still don't.
Let's see. Education.
This is revisionism.
Education in communist countries was often an instrument of social control. From teachers that reported to the Stasi in East Germany to Mao Zedong thought in China, communist regimes have used state education to spread propaganda and monitor potential dissenters.
Just like the United States.
Yeah. But
Wait,
communist
is this supposed to be a good thing?
But that's a good thing. But
At least they get the reading.
But communist education had real and very considerable strengths. In 1953, only about 10% of Soviet colleges were devoted to arts and social sciences. While some hours were wasted learning Lenin's speeches verbatim, students found that much more of their time was assigned to useful subjects like engineering, agriculture, or health sciences. The legacy of that STEM-centric approach is still visible in ex-communist states decades later. A good computer program in Europe is more likely to be Romanian or Polish than Dutch or British. But the most extraordinary accomplishments of communism in the educational realm are those related to literacy. In places like China and the USSR, illiteracy was wiped out within the span of a few decades by regimes that had the resources to send teachers to the remotest mountain villages and nomadic ethnic minorities.
So wait, gentrification and wiping out of local cultures is a good thing now?
But they could read.
Yeah, they could read the Russian language. I guess if China does it, they wipe out the Tibetan language. That's suddenly okay now?
Yeah, somehow I doubt that these people could read. I'm sure that they told American reporters they could read.
Yeah.
I'm sure they said that all over the place. Look, and then they showed pictures of one classroom full of kids that could read.
Well,
and then they said this is representative of the entire country, didn't you know?
I hate to tell you this, Jack, but dead people don't need to learn how to read.
Yeah. All right. Well, did someone just die?
Yeah, I think so.
No, I kicked the table.
Oh. Well, don't get mad. It's not my fault they killed him.
All right. Healthcare. Communist nations often lack the advanced equipment and medical expertise that developed nations have come to expect. It should not surprise us that...
I think communist healthcare is at least on par with Canada's healthcare.
That bad, huh?
It should not surprise us, therefore, that life expectancy has increased significantly in regions like East Germany and Poland since the fall of communism. But in the
Yeah,
USSR,
you know why the hell? You know why it increases? Because of developments in Western medicine.
Hey, fact.
But in the USSR and Cuba, remarkable achievements were made by authorities in the realm of healthcare. So let's talk about what communism was doing right. The Cuban healthcare system today is often
Oh,
considered
God.
world-leading.
Bullshit.
Really? Because I've seen pictures. It's
That's
not world
total
leading.
bullshit. It would be leading if we were still in 1951.
It's world-leading, it says right here.
Yeah, that's a load of shit.
That is not because of cutting-edge hospitals or lengthy training times for doctors. Cuban doctors migrating to the U.S. often requalify as nurses. What Cuba does right is preventative and community care. It has more physicians per patient than any other country.
So communist bullshit, in other words.
Are we overlooking the
It
fact that
doesn't-
there's a lot of dead homosexuals?
Yeah, so it doesn't actually cure anyone, but they do have programs with.
It sounds like they cured the homosexuals.
Yeah, they did. They all died. Shade it like the gays.
Let's see. What Cuba does right is preventative and community care. It has more physicians per patient than any other country, and those doctors often live and operate clinics in the same neighborhoods as their patients. That community approach has ensured high levels of trust, which has in turn enabled vaccination programs to wipe out many diseases which long plagued the island.
Yeah, there's a
What,
reason why the
myocarditis?
Cuban doctors are coming to America and becoming nurses. It's because they're not qualified to become doctors.
But there's a lot of them. There's an old saying that an ounce, 28 grams of prevention is worth a pound, 454 grams of cure. Perhaps that is
Yeah.
Perhaps
You want to know the best preventative? No communism from the get-go. How about that? That's a great preventative.
I just think it's funny they bothered to put the metric conversions into a figure of speech.
Yeah. Let's see. Perhaps that is why Cubans live roughly as long as citizens of the U.S., despite spending only a tenth as much on health care. Marx believed that a revolution of the proletariat was most feasible in a rich industrial society. In his original conception of economic evolution, he believed that capitalism naturally came before socialism and communism. He was unsure about proposals that a country like Russia might leapfrog capitalism altogether. But looking at communist regimes in practice throughout history, they have been most successful in places that previously had nothing except abject poverty. Perhaps a better way to think of communism is that it can work reasonably well for a short period by bringing order, education, and infrastructure to societies that utterly lack them.
So you're saying that the way to solve poverty is by killing them.
Yeah. And
Dead people don't eat.
and if you install communism for a short time, they'll totally be fine with going away after that time.
Yeah, it's people don't fight for power. No, they're like, okay, we're done here. We've gotten everything we wanted, equal rights and all that, and we're just gonna go ahead and go back to what we were doing before. Just as feminism.
Yeah. All right, so with the end of the second article comes the second game, which is for the chat only, Jack.
Kansky.
And that is the caption contest, where I'll show you a photo of a political figure or event, and the chat has to come up with a caption for it, and whichever one we like best, I'll tweet it out after the show. And this week we have the good old, definitely not lesbian cop from the UK.
I was hoping it would be that one.
This incredibly feminine cop
Yes.
who had to arrest a young
Hashtag
autistic
lesbian
girl.
I already made all the Conan O'Brien jokes, so those are out.
Yeah. That was like hard to watch, seeing the little like 15 or 16-year-old girl just dragged out by the cops, like 7 of them.
How dare you make a homophobic remark? Speaking
Yeah.
of Ozzy.
Let's see. Bike cop. I thought you said dyke cop. Let's see. I dare you to call B lesbian. I'm guessing it's call me lesbian. How dare she call me a lesbian? I've not had my bottom surgery yet. Hey, little girl, are you eyeing me? Justin Bieber has made a career change.
No, it's too manly for Justin Bieber.
Yeah, by far.
I like it when the tards struggle. Really turns me on. Assume my sexuality. That is 5 to 10 years.
That's sadly accurate.
So where do you say you hid my dildo? Famous dentist elf tries out new career as crossing guard.
I like that one.
Yeah, that one's kind of funny. Oh, somebody needs a timeout.
Okay.
Something smells fishy here. How dare they talk to me like that? Now go scissor, then beat my wife. Oh, now to go scissor, then beat my wife.
Again, a little too accurate.
Oi, you don't run with scissors, and I don't scissor with runs. Ugh.
That's fucking gross, man.
But pretty funny.
Let's see. Munch this carpet. I'm just mad I lost the World Cup. 10-year-old becomes cop.
It does look like a little kid dressed up, doesn't it?
Let me show you my gun. I could be screaming at a protest right now, but instead of this BS. After losing the football tournament, Megan Rapinoe has made a career change. Bad girls, what you gonna do?
No, it's bad girls, bad girls.
All right, stop. I need to perform a strip search with my strap on. Yes, I specifically asked for the Conan O'Brien haircut. You think I'm a lesbian? That's the most offensive thing somebody has called me since a tourist confused me for Tilda Swinton. That's it. You're going to jail.
Who the hell is Tilda Swinton?
She's an actress.
British actresses.
Oh, okay.
Hey, little girl, do you want to see my carpet? I'm not lesbian. I'm a they-bian.
Ew.
Is that strap-on in my pocket, or am I happy to see you? Macaulay Culkin gives up Hollywood. Stop or my trans dad will shoot. All right, I think I gotta cut it off there because we got a lot of them.
Garrett Hedlund wins.
Yeah.
Garrett Hedlund got it in the final one. Yeah.
That was great. Last second, you got it.
I don't know. I still think I kind of like the Rudolph reference.
Yeah, I like the dentist.
Which one?
Famous dentist self tries out new careers crossing guard.
Oh yeah, that one's pretty good too.
I was going to vote for the don't scissor with runs because that is so disgusting.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones here. We got a lot of good contenders this time.
But I do have to give it to Garrett Hedlund with the the buzzer shot.
Strapped on and off duty.
All right, so Terry's going with Garrett. Jack Gunsky.
I'll go with Garrett.
Same.
All right. Well, of course Moon is.
Oh yeah.
of course.
Jack Cochran.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that too, just because it is so foul.
Which one?
Yes.
Now you gotta say one.
Do I only get to pick one?
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna go with the runs. The scissor runs.
All right. Well, I would go with the elf one, but it looks like the Garrett Hedlund one wins.
You guys had some great contenders, though. I'll give you that.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of good
Yes.
ones in there.
This week was good.
All right, so
Who else?
congratulations, Garrett Hedlund.
Yay!
You may have made a shitty superhero movie, but you did all right in the capture
It's
contest.
not a superhero movie.
When I tweet this out, the real Garrett Hedlund will be confused.
I don't know about you guys, but I like to watch that superhero movie while playing Oregon Trail.
It's not a
Okay.
superhero movie, and it's
What
Oregon.
movie are you
Thank
talking
you.
about?
Tron Legacy, the superhero movie.
No,
Was
the
that
best
Marvel or
movie ever.
DC?
That was Disney, so it was Marvel.
You fuck.
Oh, it was Dark Horse.
I hate every single one of you.
Tron is a fucking awesome franchise. I don't know why they
See?
didn't do more with it.
See, you have regained my my
Dude,
franchise.
I saw the original Tron in the theater, and I was blown away because of all
Dude.
the beautiful. I love neon stuff to begin with.
Yeah.
It's like foil cards when you get a pack. You're like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
mesmerized by that shit. So I love that fucking movie.
Yeah, I was 8 when it came out in the theaters, and I fucking loved it. The entire 80s decade, it's like, oh yeah, I must watch it. If it ever came on TV, I watched it.
Yeah,
I own 3 different versions of it.
it's one of those movies that's really underappreciated for its time, much like Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth
yes,
Dimension.
it really
There's
is.
just some movies that people don't watch, and you're like, why haven't you watched? It's fucking dumb. No, you have no taste or class. Get out.
For its time, it was one of the most appreciated science effects without having to use CGI.
Yeah,
Jack Cochran, don't encourage the moonshock.
Yeah.
I did
All
not
right.
want.
So
Buckaroo Banzai has RoboCop.
yeah.
Yep.
Peter Weller.
Mm-hmm.
all right, so on to
Anyway.
our next article. Jack Cochran, you know how you like to look at TikTok videos and say that like
God.
piercings and tattoos and stuff are warning signs.
Yeah, and then laugh at the retards. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
dear.
Well, you're about to be proven wrong,
Oh boy.
Oh dear, I'm ready to stand corrected.
and that piercings are actually good.
Oh, I will
Of course they
prepare
are.
my body now for the input it is about to receive of the
I-
knowledge dump that you are about to shit on me.
I'm glad you
What the
phrased. I'm glad you phrased it like that, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Story
wow.
of tongue ring and fellatio by our old friend
This-
Ryan Musk Jobs.
Okay, I have some stories about this. Go ahead.
Okay, the fact that this guy actually has an article called "How One MILF Was After My Dick."
Oh wow.
Yeah, we've had this guy a couple times. This is the guy who
This guy.
writes erotica and has no idea how the English language works.
The
Oh,
headline
dear.
reminds me of the Rowan Atkinson sketch where the priest is talking about the church's attitude to fellatio.
Let's see.
Real quick, so you said this guy doesn't understand the English language. Have you ever read Jules' book of poetry?
No, I'm straight.
She doesn't know the English language either. Now, I dated this
I-
chick that was a huge fan of Jewel, and she made me read it. And I was like, that's not what this word means. And I kept saying that about every other page.
Mhm.
Because
I,
Jewel
I
does
was,
not
I was thinking
understand
that
English.
I was thinking that Hate Camel here was going to recommend Quan Mills, and that hoe got roaches in her crib.
Oh.
Let's see. I was drawn by that particular clip in Quentin Tarantino directed film Pulp Fiction, where Rosanna
Just in
Arquette
case you didn't know.
yeah. Where Rosanna Arquette tells John Travolta that stud in her tongue is a sex thing that helps fellatio. Since then, obvious thought of receiving a blowjob with a stud holding chicks became more apparent. At first, I was the only one having this sort of unique fantasies. But later, when I checked within my friends' circle, everyone pretty much shared their wild imagination. One fine after-noon, my dream became a reality when a girl I dated for a few months wanted to pierce her tongue. When the fact that she was really good at what she did without stud, I can tell you, she became a professional after carrying that stud whenever she takes a circular tongue tease to my ever-hard cock.
Oh my god. Everhard, is that like an ever ready battery? He's got an ever hard cock.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
and here's a picture of a woman. All right, let's see. Tongue piercing is definitely an enhancer to fellatio, and I have not heard anyone who engaged in this practice ever regretted it.
I have a story on that.
This technique, when performed with full engagement, definitely aids extreme stimulation and provides gratifying satisfaction for those who wants to spice up their fellatio practice. But there are few who can bring similar stimulation without any stud as well. All depends on how you use it and if receiver satisfaction is at height. I have known few of my friends who vehemently opposed their girlfriend's idea of getting their tongue pierced, due to the fact that once done, they look like a hooker, and since Pulp Fiction has made it clearly known of its main purpose since it helps fellatio. But they found extreme pleasure during the blowjob session when their girls came home with pierced tongue. Their excitement hit new high, and now they advocate others to do the same by sharing their intimate moment.
Just one
seen-
intimate moment. Just one.
Yeah. As seen, over time, sensation might die and be pierced or doesn't make any difference whatsoever for many folks. The key to keep it alive is to utilize various techniques to make sure you are adding value to what you do. Some people might not find any difference at all. They claim how others find difference is due to their psychological condition or called a placebo effect. There is no scientific evidence that suggests holding tongue stud can actually put someone into extreme sensation. Oh, there aren't scientific studies on that, huh? Does the pleasure get affected by the location of piercing? Well, some people have suggested to pierce near the tongue tip, whereas others suggest to pierce deep inside. Wiggling or rubbing with tongue tip studs makes clitoris arousal and generate indescribable pleasure to women for sure for many girls. One really has to give it a...
Hashtag not all.
Yeah.
One really has to give it a try and see how it works. Until then, we can read all stories of others' experiences, and it really doesn't help one who wonders, as we are torn by positive and negative comments people make. There is nothing to lose. Give it a go, and if you don't like it, or shit doesn't make any sense, then simply take it off.
Yeah. Shit doesn't make sense, is it? Since I got this tongue ring.
I'm confused.
There's a lot going on here, and I'm very annoyed by all of it.
I'm not annoyed. I'm laughing. I think that is brilliant.
No, this guy's use of alliteration is just sad, bothering me.
Yeah, that's the only problem with this writing style. So what's the story that you had, Jack?
Okay, couple things. First of all, I have had a blowjob from a chick with a tongue ring. It's pretty nice, but it always depends on the chick's technique. That thing is not going to make a bad blowjob better. In fact, it could be quite the opposite, because a buddy of mine got a blowjob from a chick with a tongue ring, and the bottom barbell came off, and it left the pointy end, and it cut his dick. Do you want to go into an emergency room and explain how you got a slash mark on your cock? Because they thought he was involved in a rape.
Ouch.
Like, they called the cops and everything, and he had to explain to him, no, my girlfriend just got a tongue ring, the bottom barbell came off, and the tongue ring got loose, and it cut me. And they're like, uh-huh. So they had to go talk to his girlfriend, and it became a huge ordeal. And he, like, called me because he's like, I might need bail money. And I was like, you're on your own, dude. I'm broke.
Also, what if you have your dick pierced and, like, the two piercings, like, get locked up?
That's always a possibility. But I also heard a story about a chick that I knew in college who got a tongue ring, and it got infected, and she almost lost her tongue.
Yeah.
So, because she dropped out like halfway through the semester, so I had to track her roommate down. I'm like, what happened? She's like, oh, she got her tongue pierced, but it went wrong. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Well, she almost lost like half her tongue. So
you didn't immediately ask if she could blow you?
No, her tongue swelled up, and I was like, you're not gonna get much in there. You're gonna get teeth action. But if she had lost part of her tongue, then I would definitely be like, hey, what's up? It's something new. Although French kissing would just be like French Canadian kissing. It's not quite real French.
All right. Well,
That's my tongue ring stories.
I mean, it was better than this guy's story. All right. So now it's time for the final game, and that is Po or No Gender Edition,
Woo!
Oh, for fuck's sake.
where I will give you 3 genders, 2 of which are from the LGBTIA wiki, meaning they're 100% real, and 1 I made up.
A.
And you have to figure out which one is made up.
It's A.
And I'll even give you a short description of each one.
A.
So, gender A. IKEA gender.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Xenogender, in which one feels they have to assemble their gender themselves.
Oh my god.
Gender B. New gender plus. Gender identity where one feels like they've started their life anew, but now completely understanding their gender.
Is this like getting that blood sac put in so chicks can have second virginity?
Sure. All right. And gender C. Wiki fluid. Gender in which one is browsing the gender wiki and feels as though they identify as one of the genders on it.
Oh my god.
All right. So I'll start a poll for the chat so they can get in on it. And don't forget, one of the options is that they're all real. So,
Well, I really want Wiki Fluid to be real, so I'm not going to vote for that.
It's A.
So you're sticking with A, Jack?
Yep.
All right. Moon.
Fuck that new gender plus shit. I'll say B because I think it's so stupid.
All right. Terry.
Well, I'll go B as well.
All right. Jack Cochran.
I am so bad at this game because you make these fucking retarded things convincing. They're all dumb enough to be real, so I'm going to D. They're all real.
All right.
And air quotes, real.
Yeah.
Let's see. The chat is going A so far.
D is kind of like the Marge at the racetrack in The Simpsons. Can I just get that they all have a good time and that she gets directed to wuss bets?
Yeah.
Yep. A's still in the lead.
It's a photo finish.
Yeah. Give it like 10 more seconds or so.
I don't think A is going to be taken out of the lead. It's got too much of a lead. It's too far ahead.
All right. So I'll end it there. So chat went with A, followed by all real. And the answer is B is fake.
Oh yeah! That actually surprises me.
Why? Why? You thought they were all real?
No, it's just dumb enough to be something one of these retards would put online. I'm always confused by these because they're too convincing.
Yeah, that's the challenge, is coming up with something stupid enough to sound real.
Yeah, like, do you just get drunk and give yourself head injuries till something comes out on paper?
He does that, and he doesn't even play the game.
Yeah.
I
Do you
I
go out
actually
and
thought
like?
it might be C. For a while I was thinking it might be C, but I thought no. I want C to be real, so I'm not going to vote for that.
Yeah, Wiki Fluid sounds too convincingly accurate.
I love C because it was so meta.
Yeah.
That's like the philosophy major one that they came up with. Like, oh, it's so deep, man. Ugh.
R/I'm 14 and this is deep.
All right, so let's take a look at the flags. So this is the IKEA gender, which is
If it's not
very
blue and white or in yellow, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Yep.
Oh, look, it's like you.
Yeah, that looks a little too Ukrainian for my
Yeah.
taste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like somebody just took the flag and then put like a bar over the middle that just darkens the colors.
And WikiFluid didn't have a flag, so once again, I had to make one myself.
Oh,
There's the Wikipedia logo.
Oh joy! Did you upload this to the Wikipedia, Frosted?
That would be awesome.
I don't have an account there.
oh my god!
nice touch putting that on the laptop there. That's a good one. I like that.
Yes. Hell, you can even call WikiFluid that drool that comes out of people that read Wikipedia.
I'm still convinced that Frosted runs this website. They're all his.
All right, and once again, we have a bonus gender, one
Oh,
that
wow.
one that would be too stupid for you guys to think I made up. In another edition of Porno Gender Edition, Too Retarded for TV. So, let's see. This week's gender is zero gender.
Is that
Term-
part of the binary?
Term for gender or group of genders that are nullified when combined with its or their respective anti-gender or anti-genders, leading to mutual self-destruction or a similar concept of nullification and leaving behind a neutral spore.
You're right. I would have called bullshit on this in a heartbeat. I'd be like, that's the fake one.
If they want to destroy themselves or each other, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
So-
I mean,
So that's right.
Right.
There is gender antimatter.
is this the Canadian solution?
It's the anti-life equation of gender.
Anti-life.
Nice reference.
Anti-life gender. There we go.
And
We need to
flag for it.
prevent a gender gap, everyone.
And here's the flag.
They're gonna invent the gender bomb over here.
Oh my God.
That's so fucking dumb. Frost, I'm telling you, you should write a book of all these fake ones that you've created and just say that they're new genders and market it to these fucking retards because you can probably make some money off them.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like
I
I make money off page flips on Amazon when somebody reads the Kindle version with their Amazon Prime. You could make some revenue doing that.
I was horrified because I looked at my gender on the wiki and they're going to remove it, or they flagged it for removal because they had no proof that it was real.
They can't
There's
do
no
that.
proof. 99% of this shit's real, other than male and female.
Well, there is only
The
two
proof is I feel that way today.
And
Yeah.
the Rapians.
Yeah, but 60 FPS plus gender. I went to the wiki, I looked at it, and it was flagged for removal. I don't think they've removed it yet, or it was like still there last time I checked. But
Terry, did you explain to them that this was your gender?
no, I don't know how to make an account on there and get involved.
Yeah, you should send them an email saying, like, how dare you marginalize my identity?
Yeah,
You're trying to get rid of you're trying to erase me from existence.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is
that's-
literally hate.
That's genocide.
It is.
All
My
right.
question is, how do you get proof that a gender is real? What qualifies as proof?
Feelings.
Well, when you have someone with a gender meet someone with their anti-gender, they hug and explode. That proves that gender is real.
Yeah. Yeah, they call
And
that
they
a gender
create-
burst. It's like a
And they
pulsar.
create a spore.
No, yeah, that spore works like a black hole. It sucks in other genders. So you have to come in with some ginger spray, and it helps kill it.
All right, and for our final article, you know how like every big movement needs some kind of symbol. Yeah, you know, kind of like how Batman is in the Dark Knight movies.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, we found the newest symbol for the most important movement in America.
Oh god.
Is it a bowel movement?
Please tell me it's fat acceptance.
How the folding chair became a symbol of resistance in America.
What?
The Montgomery uprising is inspiring a cultural revolution.
It sounds like fat phobia.
Montgomery uprising. Oh, I gotta hear this.
Oh, you'll recognize.
Oh,
At least some of you will recognize it when you hear it. In the aftermath of the Montgomery Riverfront uprising, the folding
Oh,
chair,
God.
which a black man used in self-defense, has risen as a quintessential symbol of resistance against white violence.
I thought throwing a chair was how you started a fight.
No, that's
Yeah.
how you resolve one in wrestling.
oh.
After a
my.
black co-captain, Damian Pickett, asked a group of white people to move their pontoon to make room for the Harriet II riverboat to dock, they violently attacked him rather than comply with this request. That's when black men and some black women intervened, fighting the white people and rescuing Pickett.
Wait,
One of the
I thought white complicity was bad.
It is.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
I'm confused.
you have
Fucking
one too
dumb.
many words in that sentence. White
Oh.
is bad.
Oh, my bad. My bad. I misunderstood. Sorry.
One of the most noteworthy participants was a black man who used a white folding chair as a weapon. The Root identified the folding chair man as 42-year-old Reggie Gray, and he's been elevated to hero status within the black community.
I like the mention of the Root, one of the finest journalistic enterprises.
Pictures in
Second
chat.
only to Medium.
Pictures in chat.
Lose some weight and get a new hairstyle.
Yeah, dreads are so like 80s.
I don't want this to actually happen, but it would be funny if the offices of the Root burnt down, and so people could go, the Root is on fire.
We don't need the whitey, let the motherfucker burn.
Exactly.
But perhaps even more notorious than the man whose efforts made the folding chair infamous is the chair itself, which has dominated social media as a cultural icon of resistance since Saturday.
Dominated social media. So, two people.
Dominated-
Basically.
Dominated since Saturday.
Remember when like occasionally a news channel would be like, this video went viral, and it would be like 300 views on it.
Yeah.
Businesses quickly created products to match the energy of the moment. From casual clothing items like t-shirts and hoodies, to a black model strutting the runway with one at Copenhagen Fashion Week, the chair has become a fashion statement. Additionally, accessories like phone cases, earrings, keychains, and household items like mugs hint at the legacy of the Montgomery uprising. Black Americans will never forget the day a folding chair became a symbol of resistance. Saturday, August 5th, 2023.
Yeah, oh boy, they're like Rosa Parks and shit, yo.
A day which will live in infamy when, like, half a dozen people got into a brawl on a dock somewhere.
Yeah, man, the standards for heroes is really low these days.
Yeah, it just, like Terry said, wait till they find out about wrestling. People hit each other with chairs all the time.
I think that was Zach said that.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. All you people sounded like.
Yeah.
Of course, in
Ouch.
America, any symbol of black resistance, including the chair, why is the chair in quotes, will frighten some white people, but this is an irrational fear. Black people, like every other group, have the right to defend themselves against physical violence, And if a chair is our weapon of choice, so be it. If white people
It makes sense. It's an irrational fear. It's an irrational symbol. Why shouldn't it inspire
Yeah.
rational fear?
I just picture some white guy walking into like a movie theater, seeing seats everywhere and like curling up in the fetal position. Black people, like every other group, have the right to defend themselves against physical violence. And if a chair is our weapon of choice, so be it. If white people refrain from attacking black people, they have nothing to fear. Remember, the chair is not a symbol of violence. It's a symbol of black resistance. While we often think of items like guns and knives as weapons, recent events have reminded the black community about the power of household objects. Will the chair remain an enduring symbol of resistance?
No, of course not.
The irony wasn't...
I never. Not only have I never heard of this symbol, but about 2 seconds after this article finishes, I will have already forgotten it.
Yeah,
Or
I mean, half the people that used the symbol have probably already forgotten about it if it's a week old.
Will the chair... yeah. The irony wasn't lost on the black community that the folding chair, the one with a bookrest, was patented by a black man, Nathaniel Alexander, in 1911. Yeah, he patented one with a bookrest. That there was a folding chair patented like half a century earlier by a white guy.
Of course.
So he patented a chair, not the chair.
no, it's a chair, which means that they obviously created it. So you stole it from us. You
We was kangs and shit.
Yeah.
We was
And-
kangs.
And also, when's the last time you saw a folding chair with a bookrest? Like, no
Not
one
enough.
uses it.
We was
That's
folding
because they're
chairs.
racist, Frosted. They're racist and they refuse to use the black man's folding chair.
It's true.
Indeed, small businesses created shirts depicting this black history factoid after the uprising. And it spread on social media like wildfire, traveling through every nook and cranny of the web. While it's unlikely Alexander thought his invention would ever be used as a self-defense tool, it is an interesting part of the story. By elevating the chair as a symbol of resistance, we can kill two birds with one stone. Not that I condone mistreating our flying friends.
Fuck off.
Raising awareness about black history while asserting black people's right to self-defense. Black people have collectively elevated the chair, again in quotes, an everyday item, as a symbol of our unity and resistance. Such a symbol
Okay.
is...
The lamp is now a symbol of whitey. Those funeral home lamps that you get, the big long ones, like $8 at Walmart. You have to carry them around it with that music from Star Trek, that dun 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 dun
Well,
combat music. Yeah, that's a whitey symbol now.
we know that Steve Carell loved lamp, so I mean.
Yeah, I
that's
know. I was
precedent.
gonna say I love lamp.
It's true.
Let's see. Such a symbol is perhaps necessary in an era where black people are most likely to become victims of hate crimes. Seeing the folding chair may make white people think twice about starting an altercation. Some dance classes have showcased creative ways black people can use the chair, preparing for a possible attack.
You don't need to teach black people how to be violent. Don't be silly.
I like, even if you don't want to use a gun or a knife or something, are they unaware that bats exist? Like, there are better, more efficient, blunt instruments.
Yes.
No. This is a symbol of liberation and utilitarianism. We must embrace this.
Frosted. Black people didn't I'm
I'm
sure
sure they'll find some weird one that they did.
Yeah,
I've
so-
learned that
In-
many great inventors were black. Shakespeare, Beethoven,
In-
they were black.
In 1953, William whatever invented the modification to the bat grip. So they invented the bat.
Yeah. Look, I saw Hidden Colors, all 5 parts. I learned a lot. The Japanese stole ninjutsu from a black man. It's true.
Yeah.
They invented
I mean,
writing as well.
One time, a pimp used a bat to beat his hoe for not giving him money.
There you
So
go.
it's a symbol of black resistance.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Actually, the word bat actually comes from the first person who used one beating a vampire bat to death and liberating a village from vampirism. That's where the term bat came from.
Wait, are you talking about
Mm.
monkey?
No, he used the tennis racket.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. And that bat was alive. He's assured me.
One
Yeah, he
black
said it was still alive.
One black woman announced she would keep a folding chair in her trunk just in case, while another let her folding chair ride shotgun in the front seat of her car.
I hope you put a seatbelt on the chair. You don't want to get it. You don't want it to get hurt in an accident.
I,
Does
I
that
just
count as
lo-
carpooling?
I just love the idea of like some white guy going up and trying to start shit, and she goes, "I have a chair, you know," expecting him to back off. A black man was seen testing the durability of the folding chair in Walmart, including some of his wrestling moves. Will other black people use the chair as a self-defense tool, or is this a one-off, some may be asking. One video showing a black man in Detroit fending off an attack from a white man with a yellow folding chair suggests black people will continue defending themselves in this way.
You remember that time that gas station got robbed and those black dudes held down a Sikh with a folding chair? Oh, wait, it was the other way around. The Sikh dudes held down that black dude. So it sounds like a tool of oppression.
But the Sikhs didn't invent the chair.
Yeah, they oppressed him with his own invention. What?
Yeah. Perhaps the chair will remain an enduring symbol of black resistance against white violence. Shirley Chisholm, the first black woman elected to Congress, said, "If they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair." And it seems the black community is more than willing to apply that lesson, literally and figuratively.
See, folding chairs are so impractical and uncomfortable. Why wouldn't you make it a recliner?
I would love to see people trying to swing a recliner.
Yeah, it'd be hilarious.
I just love the idea of calling it the Montgomery Uprising.
Yeah, some jackasses for jackasses to other jackasses. A shot.
It was like a
Okay.
half a dozen
It-
people who got into a brawl on a dock.
Yeah,
It puts me in mind of when a medium author coins a new term and then writes an article around the new term they just coined and pretends as though it's been used all this time.
yeah, it's super fetch. We're making fetch a thing. Oh man! Now I'm waiting to see some chick come up to me with a folding chair so I could be like, "Oh my god, she's gonna recreate the Flashdance scene. Dance for me."
This person in the comments is saying, when they're buying stuff with a folding chair on it, they want to know my money is going to our community. Are there black-owned businesses creating and selling these items? I have to ask because it's so common these days that large companies, white-owned businesses, jump on a particular bandwagon to capitalize on what they see are a profitable trend. Just my initial thoughts as I read and enjoy my morning coffee. I will never look at a folding chair the same ever.
Yeah.
This is stupid.
I have
Well,
no
they
idea
are
what you're talking
medium
about.
commenters, so yeah, that goes without saying.
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
I hate these people so much. Medium is the cesspool of degeneracy and stupid. Same with the root.
I know it's great, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's fun to laugh at because they're like circus retards. You know, you're like, ha ha, look at the retard. Oh, you're serious. Oh shit.
I
You like
still
that?
think the Bergen County Cat Congress articles are actually some of the best on Medium.
Yeah. They are the most
The best one.
the most intelligent, if not
Yeah.
despite being mentally unbalanced.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
The best article, of course, naturally is Pregnant
Pregnant
Goku.
Goku.
Well, we never did that on this stream.
No.
We have
We could
standards.
next week if you want to torture the audience.
We have
I
standards.
like how you pretend you have standards.
But we only talk about giving blowjobs with piercings.
Classy stuff, you know.
we
upscale.
we don't talk about degenerate shit.
All right. So, let's see. I'll take a moment to shill my co-host and guest. I Like Boobs has Quippers United Sundays on his channel at 7 p.m. Eastern. Moonshock has
Who's
his...
that?
Some dickhead. Don't worry about it.
Ah, let's see. If he doesn't make it, we'll replace him with Will Forge. Let's
Yeah,
see.
of course.
Moonshock has his Twitch channel linked in the description where he plays games that aren't as good as Super Seducer.
Yeah. Shut up.
You can fix this easily, Moon.
No.
You can make this stop anytime.
All of
let's
this can end. Just tell me that there are 4 lights. No, what is it? 5 lights or something like that?
5, I think.
Yeah.
Let's see. Terry is on Six's Sober streams. He's on Tears Midnight streams. He's on, let's see, Mr. Adams and Hammer's Minions nights. He's on Johnny Hellcat's streams. He's on Quippers United. He's on every stream known to man.
Yeah.
Only
Just-
the ones that matter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just
So it is a
Yeah.
running joke that I get asked which streams I'm not on Tears Midnight shows. So
Yeah.
I'll have to come up with a list.
yeah, just to look in the mirror 3 times and say Terry's name, and he'll be on your stream. All right. Anything you want to shield, Jack?
I'll drop a link to a video if that's cool.
No.
Go subscribe to my channels so I can get monetized and get the monies.
Do
Yeah.
you have
And
links
also-
to all 8 of his channels in the description?
You don't need to do that. That's excessive.
All right, so let's see. We should be back next week at the same time, Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern. So we'll see you guys next week.
See you
See you later, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Oregon Trail.
Shut up.